So when you start to use your new drop spindle, you need to tie on a leader thread, and this is just a length of wool that you can spin onto. If your hook is on the top of your drop spindle, you can tie on your leader thread underneath the weight. So I'm going to trap that between my knees, and I'm going to tie a knot, and then just double it round and tie another knot. You want it fairly tight so that it's not going to slip when you start to spin and wrap the yarn onto your drop spindle. So I'm going to push that under the weight, over the weight, and then round the hook a couple of times, and then you can spin onto that. Now, it's a good idea when you're starting off to just, without any fibre, to practice just spinning the drop spindle. So hold on to the leader thread and just get used to the feel of the drop spindle. If the weight is on the top, you can hold the leader thread and just get used to spinning the drop spindle from the spindle bit underneath the weight, and just practice getting it spinning nice and even and keeping it spinning. And you can always try the other direction just to get used to how the drop spindle moves. It's much easier to start this way without any weight on it. It's also a good idea to get used to just trapping the drop spindle between your knees, and then it gives you your hands free to manoeuvre the fibre. So we're going to use an action which is twisting the drop spindle and also trapping it between the knees. If you have a drop spindle where the weight is at the bottom, you again tie the leader thread underneath the weight, wrap it around the spindle and through the hook, the other. So again practicing. So again you spin from the top of the spindle here, and you're just going to practice getting that moving before adding fibre. So this wool top is a Jacob's Humbug top. It's called Humbug because it's black and white, and I often use this for beginner spinners because you can see really clearly what the twister's doing. I usually start by pulling a length off, which is about 40 centimetres, and then I will divide it lengthways. It just makes it a little bit easier, and then I'll often what they call pre-draft it, so just pull the fibres out gently a little bit, and then I concertina it into my left hand. The neater that your left hand can keep the fibres, the easier that it will be to present the fibres to your right hand. So when you are starting off with your drop spindle, obviously I've spun some on this, but this thread at the bottom is a leader thread. So I've tied it around the bottom of my drop spindle, I've then wound it around my drop spindle and spun onto it. So we're going to use this as the leader thread, so this is already spun. So I'm going to wind it round the drop spindle a couple of times and round the hook. So when you're joining onto a leader thread, or indeed onto spun thread, you need a little bit of unspun wool that's quite open, so the fibres can catch on to the fibres of the yarn that you're joining it to. So I'm going to join straight fibre to a little bit of straight fibre here. Now if you get little wispy bits at the end, ignore those. Kind of get a fairly decent number of strands from your left hand to join to. I'm going to hold them all together, particularly at the top of the leader thread or the joining fibre by my left hand. And when I let go here at the top of the twist, because you can see the twist coming up, and I'm pinching at the top of the twist. As soon as I let go here with this right hand, there's going to be a little twist that goes up into this straight fibre, like that. Not much, but a little bit. And then I'm going to put some twist into it by the drop spindle. Then I'm going to stop that. I'm going to grab it between my knees again. And at the top of the twist, where the fibre goes straight, I'm going to pinch. And I'm going to pull back some fibres with my left hand, about 2 or 3 inches, and pinch again. So the twist is controlled going up to my right hand, and then I've got straight fibres across between my right hand to my left hand. Then I'm going to let go with my right hand. Again, you can see the twist go up, add a bit more twist in, stop it, grab it between your knees. When you're starting off, this just gives you good control of the twist and time to pull the fibre back, to draft the fibres. So where the twist ends, there's kind of a V shape that opens out from the end of the twist, and that bit is called your drafting zone. And that's the bit that you're watching, because you're watching the fibres go into the twist. So again, I'm going to pinch at the end of the twist, pull back some fibres, pinch again, let go, you see the twist go in, and just add a little bit more twist in. When you run out of arm, just unhook it from the drop spindle, wind it on to the drop spindle, kind of a bit of a figure of 8. You're trying to load the drop spindle really evenly so it will spin evenly. So again, hook it back. If you think that you need a bit more twist, just put a little bit more twist in. You don't need a huge amount, but you need it to hold together. If you over twist it, what you'll find, you'll feel it kind of go all concertinery like that, and that's a little bit over twisted. On a drop spindle, it's quite easy just to let some of that go. You can just let it unravel. If you let it unravel too much, it'll all just fall apart. So again, pinch, draft, pinch, let go, put some twist in. And continue this method until you're really happy that you can pull back the right number of fibres that you want fairly regularly, fairly evenly, and just keep putting that twist in. If you break it, don't worry. So this is again broken fibre. So again, just give yourself some straight fibre from your left hand. Hold your two lots of fibre together and put some twist in. And you're just watching what the twist is doing. Just allow it to join in to the new fibres in your left hand. The more fibres that you draft out, the thicker the yarn that you're going to get. The fewer fibres give you a finer yarn. So what you can do, once you've kind of got confident with pulling back fibre, you can get your drop spindle to twist, and at the same time pull with your right hand and pull the fibres away from your left hand. And in this case, the twist selects the fibre. So you're just allowing that twist in the middle to select the fibre. And again, when you run out of hand, just hold it at the top of the twist so you're not going to break your yarn, and wind in again. Just add a little bit of tension. If you try winding it in like this, you're going to get lots of loops around your drop spindle. So just add some gentle tension just so as it winds on really evenly. I'm doing all this sitting down because when you're learning to spin, you will break your yarn, because that's what happens, and it's easier to only drop your drop spindle a foot than it is if you're standing up and you're dropping it 2 or 3 feet and you're going to break your drop spindle, as I have done. So again, the twist is just selecting the fibre. So when you have completed the bobbin, you're then going to wind this fibre off onto a pebble or something similar, and then spin another one. And then you can ply the two together, and that will be the next video of plying 2 bobbins from a drop spindle together.